I want to introduce you to, or remind you of, the political philosophy of John Rawls. John Rawls was an American liberal philosopher who Bill Clinton once described as, quote, perhaps the greatest political philosopher of the 20th century. In his famous theory of justice, Rawls presented a thought experiment that we could use to determine how best to organize society. Rawls asked us to imagine ourselves in an original position, as he put it, behind a veil of ignorance. You're about to enter society, but from this original position behind the veil, you don't know yet whether you'll be black or white, male, female, rich or poor. You don't know anything about what social characteristics you'll have when you enter this society. It's from this original position, Rawls argues, that we'd be best placed to design society because we design the most just system without biasing it towards our own group. Essentially, we should organize society as if we didn't know who we were going to be within it, to ensure that we're designing it fairly. This thought experiment has been much repeated and much applauded because it's reasonable. Surely the fairest way to design society is from a point of impartiality. Well, let's see if you figured out where this is going. I was discussing Rawls with Stephen Woodford recently, and we're both of the opinion that Rawls's thought experiment should not just apply to human beings. So here's my version of the thought experiment. This will probably sound really weird at first, but bear with me. Imagine the same situation. You're about to enter the world and you're currently behind the veil of ignorance in the original position. But it's not that you're about to enter the world as a human being, as Rawls had it. Instead, you're about to enter the world as a thing. As in, you could be any object in the world and you have no idea what you're going to be. So not only could you be white or black or rich or poor, you could be a brick, or a tree, or a mobile phone, or a pig, or a cow, or a human being. You could be anything, you have no way to know. Okay, so now, design society. It's worth noting that, philosophically speaking, the particles that construct your being really could have gone to anything else in the universe just as easily, so this isn't trivial. But consider the following. Knowing that you could be a brick in this original position wouldn't make you want to prevent bricks from being used in construction. If you were a brick, you wouldn't know you're a brick, and you wouldn't feel any pain. You wouldn't feel anything. It shouldn't bother you at all. You wouldn't mind being a chair, because you're not sentient, so who cares if people are sitting on you? But would you mind being a chicken? Would you mind being a factory-farmed chicken? Of course you would. And if you were really in this original position, you would abolish the meat industry immediately. Bear in mind, you could still enter the world as a human and benefit from the meat industry. You simply don't know who you're going to be. And if you were a chicken, you'd have the same intelligence and self-awareness as any other chicken has now. But are you willing to take that risk? Chickens outnumber, I'll remind you, humans 3-to-1, so you've got 3 times as much chance of entering the world as a chicken. Nobody in their right mind from this position would design a society that permits the meat industry as it exists today. Think of all the arguments you've ever heard in favor of meat eating, about humans being superior or worth more, or how some people need meat for strength, etc. Would any of these even tempt you to allow the meat industry because you know that if you were born as a chicken, then your suffering would be worth their pleasure since they're superior beings as humans? It certainly wouldn't tempt me. So what are we doing here? I'll leave it to your consideration.